Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be sharing a video about a tool that I've heard about online, and this is going to be quite an extensive long video, so I'll try and keep this intro short. In short, I believe that the tools that we use to do our work or anything we enjoy really matter. And so I was looking for something that wasn't a laptop, wasn't a computer, and was going to help me just write. I don't really care about distractions, but I wanted something that was not really low tech, but something that wouldn't be big and bulky, something that was lightweight, and something that was going to be just an absolute joy to type on. And I know that there's something called a Freewrite out there that is completely distraction free. It's supposed to have the feel and the look of a typewriter. But I also know the price tag for that is well over $600, and that is absolutely out of my price tag. So I came across some videos and articles that talked about something called an AlphaSmart. And so I did a little research and decided, you know what, I'm going to give that a shot. So without further ado, I am going to take you on a journey about my purchase of an AlphaSmart, specifically the Neo 2 model, and how I went about the process of customizing it. So it was not only a tool that I wanted to use, but it was a tool that was my favorite color, and I just got excited about looking at while I write. So let's jump on into it. So here's the Neo 2 that I bought used. All of them are going to be used because they're not manufactured anymore. In fact, talk about a relic. I believe these were made, oh no, this one's made in China, so this must be a more recent version, but newer ones were made in the USA. Anyway, this is a AlphaSmart Neo 2, and I chose to go with this model because I heard that it has excellent battery life, and it's supposed to be fairly easy to transfer your files from the AlphaSmart to your computer. So anyway, this is the model I chose, and this is how it came right out of the box. It did not come with a power supply. Don't need that because I'll show you in a second. It just runs off 3 regular standard AA batteries, and you just use a cord, which has a printer jack or plug, whatever you call it, that shaped cord, and then a regular old USB. And so my husband just happened to have this cord laying around. So I didn't need a cord, obviously didn't need a power cable. I just wanted the AlphaSmart Neo 2 unit itself. So here it is. I got it off of eBay. I believe it was like $48. That included shipping. I seen them go as high as for like 100, 120 on Amazon. And they go anywhere from, I've seen them online for 30 all the way up to, like I said, over 100. However, I have seen videos of people tricking these out and, you know, painting them and making them their own. And I've seen several videos on the value in this. This is for distraction-free writing. There's no internet connection. It's just a word processor. But for being a word processor, it does that really, really well. And there is, I think it's called the Freewrite. There is a newer kind of version of this, but is tricked out with all fancy like internet connection and all that. But it's also $600, and I didn't want to spend that. Nor would I want to spray paint something like that. So I bought this. I'm going to give it a go. I already put in batteries before to make sure it worked. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart. Now, first of all, you'll notice there's some scuffs on this, and I didn't care about that. I just want to make sure it powered on and worked. I don't care so much about the scuffs because, like I said, I'm going to spray paint this. So I am going to take it apart here on camera, mainly because I wanted to see someone do this from scratch, so that if I wanted to do it, which I'm now doing, I could watch. And I found some videos that showed different portions of that process, but I could not find a video that showed it from the get-go, from the very beginning. So here I go. I decided I would give this a shot and film the process so you could see how this goes. Now I'm going to be trying to play it smart, and I'm going to be taping all my screws onto this little mini cutting board and marking down on masking tape where each screw goes. Now, like I said, I already tested to make sure this turns on. It powered up great. So this little screw is actually from the back battery cover. I'll show you that in a second. But let me mark that here. Battery cover. This way, after it's all spray painted and dried, I can very easily know which screws go where, because I after all that work, I don't want to mess it up. So there's no screws here on the front, obviously. And when I take this apart, I don't know if I'm going to try and remove the little LCD screen or if I'm just going to tape off and mask that. Not sure. So we're going to crack this open and give it a go and see how things go from there. All right, so now I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws, and this is the battery cover. This tiny little black screw was here. It's just a regular teeny tiny Phillips. Unscrewed that, and if this slides over and you open it up. Originally, this was built with a rechargeable battery, and there's little wires in here that have already been disconnected that attached originally to the rechargeable battery pack. However, that's been removed, and now you can just put 3 plain old AA batteries, and like I said, that worked just fine. I am going to leave this off because I think I'll just tape off this whole inside and then mask off these, and then I may or may not spray paint this. We'll see either way. All right, so first of all, I'm looking at these screws, and they're really teeny tiny, and I don't know. Honestly, my eyesight is not the greatest. I'm going to see if this will work. Nope. Okay. So my husband has a fancy-dancy adaptable screwdriver with all these really intricate little bits. So I'm going to give that a go and see if I can find one that fits. One that will work. Nope, even smaller than that. Okay, this is... How small can we go? Nope, not that one either. If I find the right size or the right bit, I will let you know. Ding, 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 ding. Circle gets a square. This is a T7 size. Now, let's see. I've never used this tool before, so let's see how this goes. Oh boy, can I even put this back the right way? There we go. All right, so this just has a handle that you snap. Oh, that one's too big. That's not gonna work. So it looks like I do have to use this one. It snaps in here. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and take these off first. And if this process is boring for you to watch, feel free to zoom ahead. Like I said, I'm going to be really meticulous about taking all of these screws out very carefully so I don't lose any of them or forget which screws go where. And while I do that, I'll go ahead and tell you a little more about this AlphaSmart. Like I said, a lot of people have been saying it's great for distraction-free writing. It's a lot less cumbersome to take different places than a laptop is. You don't need internet. You literally turn it on and instantaneously you can start writing. There's no logging in. There's no booting up. You can take it anywhere you want. You can use it outside. And I've heard people say you can get easily 1 year, sometimes up to 2 years worth of use out of this little machine. Excuse me. With just the 3 batteries. So that was really intriguing to me. And I love the idea of being able to just throw something in a tote bag. And, you know, if I'm sitting in the car waiting to pick up my son from the train station, he takes a light rail to his university. Let's see, this is the 4 bottom back. So this would enable me to write in the car while I wait for him to get off the train. Oh, and this is a different size. So I'm going to mark this. This was size T7. Okay. So I'm going to have to get a different. These look slightly larger. So let's go to a T6 and see if that fits for those remaining screws. So anyway, yeah, the ability to use it anywhere without having to get online, great battery life, and I love the feel of the keys. Now, I was a little leery of spending, I think it came to $51 after tax. Spending $51 on something when I didn't know how the keys felt, and here's why. I am a bit of a keyboard snob. I like the bounce back and the clickety-clack of a good mechanical keyboard. It just makes the process of typing that much more enjoyable to me. I'm going to get a little leverage here. These are in there really tight. They make the clickety-clack mechanical keys, the mechanical switches make me feel more productive. I like the tactile feedback, the kinesthetic feel, tactile feedback of it. I also like the audio feedback. It's, you know what, if when you do what you love, you can love it even more if you use tools that make the process that much more enjoyable. And those keyboards just do it for me. I tell you what, like I said, I'm a bit of a keyboard snob. My favorite keyboard on my writing computer is a Razer Huntsman. I think it's a version 2. The reason I love that is because it's supposed to have lightning fast actuation. It's actually built for gamers, but you know what? I love it. I'm a writer. I don't need all the fancy lighting effects, but I just love the feel of the keyboard itself. So I wasn't so sure about going to something like this that was built, I believe, in the early 200s, excuse me, early 2000s, and I don't see a date on here. I'd be curious. There's a model number. I wonder if it's 02. No, that's the version. Anyway, I believe this was manufactured in the early 2000s, and I know it was used to teach high schoolers and school kids typing skills, keyboarding skills. So this is top for back. Okay, and then this was size, what did we say, T6. Okay. Anyway, so it turns out I pulled it out of the box, and when I received it this afternoon, the very first thing I did was just test out the keyboard, and oh yeah, it's not, obviously it's not as great as my Huntsman, you know, it's not a true mechanical switch, I don't believe, but there certainly is great bounce back. In fact, I should have tested that for you. I'm going to be really quiet here and see if my mic can pick any of this up. So I do have to press a bit harder than my mechanical keyboard on my computer, but it's great. It's got good bounce back. It gives good feedback when I click the keys, and there is a little clickety clack. So I certainly wouldn't want to use this in a quiet library or somewhere you might disturb somebody, but I personally like the sound. So, okay, let's go ahead and open this. Moment of truth. Dun, 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 dun. How do I go about this? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be easy. I'm going to clean this out, and I'm going to do masking tape around here and then carefully cut that, because I want this visible, because this gives you a set of instructions and key combinations to do different things. So that'll be relatively easy to mask off, and I have 2 different rolls of masking tape to do that. This is just, I believe it's a 1-inch thick, and I believe this is 1 3/4 inch thick masking tape. So I'll use that. This part I'm not worried about. This will be easy peasy. This part, not so much. Now the question is, this will be easy. I can, you know, I'm not going to be spray painting this side, so I've got a couple different options. I could put a piece of paper here to protect it, and then oh, that would be tough, because then I won't get very good paint coverage on the sides here. The question is, how comfortable do I feel taking all of that apart? Now I see there's a screw there. Oh, I don't know if okay, screw here, screw there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. This is a power light. And then this is connected to that. And this is the whole LCD. I don't feel, you know what? I think less is more. Meaning the less I have to take this apart, the better. So I think what I'm going to do, and I'm going to have to take this off anyway, unless I just leave this black, which maybe I will do. Let's start with that. I'm going to go ahead and tape off that portion. That way all those ports stay safe. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do this portion off camera with all the tape and the X-Acto knife. And once it's all taped up, I will go ahead and do a reveal to show you how that end of the process goes. And then I will show you what it looks like before I spray paint it with everything masked up. So you go ahead, skip ahead to the good part, and I am going to finish masking. Okay, after lots of time spent carefully taping everything down, I'm going to explain to you exactly what I did. First of all, my biggest concern was the electronics on the back of the front cover, and the keyboard and the LCD screen. Now, because masking tape is cheap and it's still being manufactured, I spared no expense. I just used this at will. Wanted to do a very careful job. Now, for the keyboard, what I did is I cut long strips and I carefully went over the keys first, didn't worry about the edges, and then once the keys were covered, the top parts of the keys covered with masking tape with no openings in between keys, I then cut strips and carefully jimmied it down between the keys itself and the front case cut opening for the keyboard. And I took a flat tip screwdriver and then carefully went around the edges very carefully and pressed the tape up against the keys to make sure there was no openings. And then for each corner, I tore a little piece of masking tape, like so, and then kind of folded it into a corner and then shimmied it down in between, and then again pressed the sides and pressed along the edges to make sure the sticky part of the masking tape was adhering to the keys, the outside portion of the keys. And I did that all the way around, and then just for good measure, to make sure everything was going to stay in place while I spray painted, I did a couple more layers across the top. So that's how I covered the keyboard. I did not take the keyboard off. We're going to see how this works after I spray paint and remove everything. The LCD monitor was my biggest worry because I didn't want to mask it across the top and then cut with a X-Acto knife because I didn't want to risk accidentally cutting the LCD monitor, or excuse me, not monitor, LCD screen. But I also didn't want little parts of the black original plastic to show through because I'm painting this a real pretty seaside aqua sea glass color, my favorite. And I'll show you that in a moment. So what I did is I used my trusty index cards. If you've watched any of my videos, many of them have to do with my love of index cards. They are just so darn useful. And what I did is I cut a regular 3x5 index card into a strip that was roughly but slightly larger than the size of the LCD screen. Now, obviously, one index card length was not going to cut it, but that was fine because when I cut the index card, I had two pieces. And so what I did is shimmied the index card slightly underneath the cover, between the cover and the LCD monitor itself. And you'll see I used some masking tape to create little tape flags so I could easily remove them after it's spray painted. And I did that multiple times to make sure the entirety of the LCD screen was completely covered and protected. So I should be able to get into the nooks and crannies all around the opening of the LCD screen right there. So that's how I did the front part of the cover. Now, going to the back, I wasn't so worried about covering this portion of the back cover because there's nothing there. It's just plastic. I'm not even going to bother to paint it, but I want to make sure I get the sides very well because I want it to look nice and clean when I reassemble this. So I just put a couple pieces of cheap old notebook paper folded there and then tape that down. My biggest concern, if you remember the first part of this video, I showed you all the electronics and I wasn't so sure if I was going to remove them in order to more easily spray paint this or not. I opted to not do that. So I ended up padding this area with another piece of notebook paper folded up and then just very, very carefully tape that down so that there's no openings. Now, if you remember in the other first portion of this video, this portion of the cover, the top, if you will, of the AlphaSmart had a number of ports, a USB port, a printer port, and then I think there was a port to charge the original rechargeable batteries. I wanted to cover all that up, and I'm going to leave that the original color of the plastic. Same with the battery case itself. I'm not going to paint this because it doesn't bother me. It's on the back, and I'm going to be sliding this in and out, hopefully not very often, but every year or two to replace the batteries. So I'm not going to paint that. I'm just going to leave it as is. So that is how I took care of the front portion and the electronic side of things. Now remember, I didn't take anything off. The only thing I took apart was the front plate from the back, leaving the electronics, leaving the keyboard, leaving the LCD screen, and then I also took the battery sliding cover off the back. Now, I'm not even going to paint this portion. That's the inside back cover. Don't care about that. So I'm going to be able to paint this portion no problem because I don't care what it looks like inside here. However, there were two portions on this back plate that I wanted to be careful of. If you'll recall, there was some keyboard shortcuts and instructions on how to actually use the AlphaSmart Neo2. So I just did several strips of masking tape and then very carefully, actually I used my finger to rub up against the edge to figure out where the cutout frame is for the instructions. And then I very carefully used my X-Acto knife, my craft knife, and went around and cut that off. And it's not perfect, but it's good enough for my purposes because all I need to know and be able to see is the instructions. Last but not least, the other areas I chose to tape off. There are 4 little rubber feet here. Again, not perfect, but the rubber feet themselves are completely covered and protected, so I can spray paint and it should be fine, and the rubber will be intact and will still create a grippy surface for me. I originally thought, oh, I'll just pry those off, then re-glue them on. They were stuck down there pretty darn well, and so I was concerned that if I might destroy them or completely ruin them trying to get them off. So we're going to try this, and if it looks really bad, well, then I might just pry them off and buy new little feet and glue those on. But for now, we're going to give this a shot and a go and see how this goes. So my next step is to actually paint this. So I'm going to take this out to the garage and give it a go. And like I said, I will show you exactly what I'm using when I'm ready to reveal the final spray painted version, and then we will put it together. We'll put it all back together, reassemble it, and let's just see what the finished product looks like. All right, catch you in the next portion of this video.
So I'm in my garage and I just spray painted the AlphaSmart Neo2 with this Rust-Oleum 2x Ultra Cover paint and primer. And I gotta say, I only did 1 coat, and I was gonna show you what it looks like. It looks a little glossy because it's still wet, but if you'll remember how dark the AlphaSmart plastic was originally, I am really impressed with how easy this was to go down. I did not sand down the original plastic. I'm gonna go ahead and get really up close. You can see it's glossy right now. It should not dry like that. But I just am so impressed with no drips. It was very easy, and again, the opacity, you don't see the original dark plastic shining through it all. So I'm going to let this dry overnight and then take a look at it tomorrow morning and see if I want to do another coat just to be sure or not. This is supposed to be dry to the touch within 20 minutes and then completely dry and usable after, I think it's 12 hours. So I'm going to give it overnight and we will take another look then.
All right, it has been overnight, and as you can see, I have the front and the back panel of my AlphaSmart Neo2, and I have masked and spray painted. The only thing I didn't choose to spray paint was the battery slide cover thingamajigger, and so that goes right here. We'll put that in place as soon as everything is put back together. I thought I would unmask everything on camera so you can see how that process goes and how it turned out. I am really, really impressed with this Rust-Oleum 2x cover paint. I have had problems in the past with spray paint, dripping and just not getting an even coat. And as you recall, in the previous portion of this video, you could see visible scuff marks on the front plate of the AlphaSmart, and clearly this covered phenomenally. No drips. This is actually just, I don't know what it is, but it just painted really well over it. I honestly didn't see this till after I was in the garage painting, but the coat is smooth. It was really easy. The nozzle wasn't hard for me to depress. So I couldn't be more impressed with this. I hope it wears as well as it went down. So I did one full coat last night. I let it sit overnight. And then this morning I just did one more real quick coat, just specifically around the edges to make sure that nothing was going to be left uncovered. So again, on camera, it's coming out a really light pale blue. This is not. This is a teal. I'll see if I can find a better picture of the cap so you can see the color I chose. If not, I chose Rust-Oleum 2x cover, and Satin Seaside is the name of the color I chose. So with that, let's get into it. I have a couple different tools to help me while I take off this masking tape. I have a flathead screwdriver. I want to be very careful to make sure I don't chip or scratch any of the paint. I also have my handy dandy craft knife here. So let's dig in. I'm most nervous about the keyboard and the LCD screen, which I just used index cards that I wedged around the cover, and then or in between the plastic cover and the LCD screen, and then I made tape flakes for myself to easily pull them out. So I'm most worried about this. So I am going to go ahead and put that off. Oh, and you can see from the back, I didn't paint the back, but I wanted to protect it, so I just masked all that off as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dig into this because I don't really care so much about the back. This had the instruction panel, and then there was 4 rubber, what do you call them? Little feet to non-slip, grippy feet. So let's go ahead and dive in here and see how he did. Oh, that is a thing of beauty. Honestly, wasn't so sure if I did a good job masking off these feet or not, so I'm hoping. Again, this is the bottom. I'm really more worried about the utility of these stopper little rubber feet. That's not too bad either, because I didn't want the what do you call it, spray paint to ruin the integrity of the rubber. I wanted it to be able to grip the desk. And another reason I wanted this, obviously I have a computer where I can write as well, but during the pandemic, when we were all working from home and going nowhere, I was getting stir crazy. So I got my husband on board with dedicating a whole little corner of what is supposed to be our dining room. We never use it as a dining room. Who wants to eat on carpet? So we usually eat in our eat-in kitchen, which has just fake wood, fake paneling on the floor. Anyway, okay, so first of all, these turned out great. Now let's take off the masking over the instruction panel. Anyway, I got my husband on board with letting me take over a corner of what is supposed to be our dining room, and instead we had an old piano there that we never used, and we got rid of that, and I turned it into what I call Cafe Corner, which is nothing more than a tiny little table that I got off Craigslist, and then I sectioned off the area with a little area rug, put 2 chairs there, and put some fake plants on the wall, along with a couple of little fake candles that go off on their own. Anyway, it's right by our sliding glass door, so it's a great place to sit and work as far as, just brainstorming. And I want to write there. So I wanted the AlphaSmart to take over there, to just type away and write while I look outside. And I call that area Cafe Corner because it feels like I'm working in a cafe. I'll take a picture and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So that was the other hope and plan behind getting this whole AlphaSmart, and painting it and making it my own was just a fun part. I took a job that I wasn't so thrilled about doing, and then I made set aside a portion of that to do something nice for myself, and this is what I chose to do with that money. So $50 might not sound like a lot of money to some people, but to me that's a tidy sum. So it felt like a big splurge to put that money aside to do this. Again, the AlphaSmart after tax was $51, I believe, on eBay for me. And then I paid just over $6 for the can of paint. And I did not use a whole can of paint at all, obviously. Pretty darn good. It's not perfect, but I can obviously read this just fine. And for my intents and purposes, that's pretty darn good. Especially considering how much difficulty I've had with projects like this in the past. So I am pleased as punch with that. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm holding my breath about this next part. I'm going to do the back first because, again, my biggest concern is the front. So let's put that off and take this off. This should be easy. And again, I don't care about any real overspray here. There was, if you'll remember, some electronics on this portion. The backside of the LCD monitor. Oh yeah, and there are some metal portions here of the keyboard. So that's what I was trying to protect. I didn't want the paint to interfere with, I don't know if paint would interfere with the electronics or not, but better safe than sorry. Oh, and I can see this painted over the on light. So I'll power this up after we put it back together, and we can see if the paint interferes with that light, or if it glows a pretty teal. Oh, and that's right, the ports. I taped off the ports here. Let's make sure that's right. I chose not to paint over the ports because it just seemed like more work than really was necessary to mask each one of those off. And I see no paint. I barely any here along the side. So my little notebook paper worked great. See the ports? Oh, look at how clean that turned out. Woo! Again, I did a pretty careful job with the masking, but I was more concerned about the overspray of this paint because, like I said, I have not had good luck with spray paint in the past. So, okay. Let's do the LCD screen last. Let's do the keyboard. And I'm just going to use my craft knife here to kind of get it started. Again, I don't want to accidentally scratch any of the paint around the edges. And this paint is not tacky at all. It's got a real nice matte feel to it. Just going to dive in here. And this is completely dry, not tacky at all. Again, my goal here was to get all the way around the keyboard with hopefully no overspray on the keys themselves. I wanted to take apart this AlphaSmart as little as possible because, of course, the more you take apart, one, the more you have to put back together, and two, the more risk I ran of, accidentally damaging something and breaking it. So that would not have made me happy at all in the slightest. I tend to talk when I'm nervous. And I'm a little nervous as I pull back this tape. I did not think to put a piece of notebook paper across the keys, but I've heard on every video online that these suckers are built to last. So hopefully, this keyboard is built to last too. Okay, I could not be happier. Oh my goodness. I'm going to get up close so you can see. You can see the space in between or around all four walls of the keyboard, all four sides. I see there's a little opening here that'll be closed up, but that that could not have worked better. And again, if you want to try this yourself, I cannot recommend this highly enough. I just took strips of masking tape, shimmied it between the keyboard and the cover itself, and then used a flat tip screwdriver and just pushed it against the sides of the keys so to get good adhesion. Okay, oh, moment of truth. This is the part I was not so sure about. I thought about using masking tape, but I thought, oh my goodness, paint could not get all the way around. And this is the area where I'm going to be looking while I'm writing, so I knew if there was any kind of mistake there, it was going to be glaring. You know, not easy to ignore like any mistakes on the back cover. So, okay, let's just go in. Go in for the kill here. Oh, I'm so scared. Is there going to be another reason I love index cards? If you can recall, I used index cards here because I knew they'd be a little thicker and stiffer and hopefully easy to work with. Oh, yes! Oh, my goodness. Okay. Oh man, that is just, it looks like it came out of the factory, this color. I seriously could not be more pleased. All the scuffs are covered, you can't tell, and there's not even a trace of paint on the LCD screen, and it's completely covered all around the edge. Again, all I did was take index cards, cut it into strip, shimmied it between the LCD screen and the cover, and then made a little tape flag so you saw how I easily pulled them out after it was painted. Highly, highly, highly recommend that. Wow. Okay, so, hey, let's put this thing together. So, first of all, let me put my craft knife away so it doesn't fall off the table and so I don't hurt myself. Alright, there we go. So, the very beginning of this video, when I took it apart, yay me, I labeled what all the screws were, where they go, and then the size of the tool I needed. So now it's just a matter of working backwards. So, let's put this thing together and power it up. And we'll take a look at it all finished. Now you can see again, I really didn't want to mess with any of these. I didn't want to have to deal with the ports. I didn't want to have to pull this out, whatever that is. The front of this is the LCD screen itself. There was just too much. I was worried. I was just worried about breaking something or, you know, not doing it correctly. All right, so let's see, T6 top. First of all, what do I have in here? I'm using, this is a T6, so let's start with that. The top 4 back. Okay, so these 4 up here. Man, I am not gonna lie. I am so pleased as punch about how well this turned out. So much so, I might go on the hunt for another one just to have a backup. These are not manufactured anymore, so what is out there is all that's left. In fact, you can find people selling parts because they're so devoted to these little machines. And I just wanted something simple, great battery life, easy to use, quick and easy to carry around the house. Laptop, I do have one, but I hate the keyboard on it. I love the keyboard on this. And it can take so long for a laptop to just start to turn on. Then you got to worry about the power supply. And it takes so long to turn on because it does so much. I don't need, when I'm writing, why is that not going? When I'm writing, I don't want the distraction of a lot. So I don't need a machine that's going to be a battery hog trying to do a bunch of stuff in the background. So this machine will hopefully solve that. Now, why is this not going in? No, it's in the right spot. Let's give this one more try here. Is everything not lined up? That does not want to go in there. Am I not pushing hard enough? Let's see. One more time. Well, let's back one of these other screws out and try a different screw. I don't want to push anything too much. Actually, let me take a peek. No, that's right. Everything's lining up. It's just not quite cooperating. Oh, that really is tough. Well, let's try one of these. I'll take this off too. Maybe I have to take a peek and see what's holding things up here. See, those other ones go in and out very easily. What seems to be the deal here? I'm not sure. Why don't we try that screw first? Anyway, Cafe Corner has just been a real blessing to me because it's a place to escape that's not my bedroom and it's not my office as I'm working here. If you've watched my other videos, ooh, that was a close call. I could have scraped the paint there. I work inside a closet that I converted into a little workspace for myself, and I just, as much as I love it, it's a good idea to have another place to work in and relax in and brainstorm. And I find that my mind works differently in different areas. So that's why I wanted this AlphaSmart, so I could just literally grab and go over to that corner whenever I feel like it, and just write without distractions, just stare outside, because my little cloffice, if you will, my closet office does not have any windows. I tried to make up for that with one of those daylight light bulbs, so it's nice and bright in here. But oh, and I even have one of those sunshine happy lights that I found at the thrift store. $3, can't beat that with a stick. But it's still not a window. Oops. And there goes my renegade screw. Let's see how I see it. Okay. Well, I guess the trick was just to put that screw in first. So, and to be a little, not rough with it, but assertive with my screw driving skills here. I'm just not very strong. Psoriatic arthritis has done a number to my hands, which I suppose I could ask for help from my husband, but honestly, I kind of want to do all this myself. So there we go. Okay, so the top screws, the top 4 are in, as tight as I can get them. And then let's make sure that's a good, oh yeah, it's a good connection. Okay, so next we need another size bit for this screwdriver. And these are, how many sizes is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6-sided bits that I'm using that are specific to this. Thank goodness my husband did have a little set that, that features all these different bits. But I imagine it's nothing special. We got it at a hardware store years ago. So, but if you do venture into this and give this a shot yourself, you will need these unique bits. But again, they're just not your standard flathead or Phillips. That's all I'm saying. But you can certainly find them. I'm certain for pretty cheap. I'm certain at any hardware store. Maybe that's another benefit of this being an older device. It's not difficult to find the necessary tools. And you know what? Oh, there went the bit stuck to the screw there. The nice thing about this too is it's because it's not high tech. It's a word processor and that's it. There's less to break. It's not only not a energy hog. It's not a battery hog. It's just a word processor. There's nothing else to break on it. Kind of like us, huh? We want to multitask, but we're meant to single task. That's how our brain works. And when we do focus on single tasking, that's when we are most effective and get stuff done. Okay, last but not least is the battery case, and that's what this final screw is for. And let's put the batteries in and power this baby up and see how it looks. I'll show you what the screen looks like lit up as well. Okay, so these are literally Costco off-brand batteries, and it takes 3 AAA regular old run-of-the-mill batteries. Now, where is my cover? Here it is. But let me put this away real quick so I don't lose my husband's tools. There we go. It's kind enough to lend them to me, and this is what the set looks like that I was using. Like I said, it has 2 custom little handles and then the snap-in bits, different kinds. So it took a T6 and a T7 in case that's helpful for anybody out there. This panel for the batteries, however, is just a simple tiny Phillips. Let's slide that over. Oh, I'm so glad I chose not to paint this. Oh, that's right. This is a teeny tiny Phillips too. So I still need this. And let's put that in like that. Do I need it? Maybe I can use my other one. Let's see. I keep a little screwdriver in my own office. It just has a simple Phillips and flathead. I think I got it for 50 cents at the thrift store, but I love it because, oh yeah, this will work just fine. I don't have a lot of tools or need a lot of tools, but I find that I'm always using a screwdriver, even if it's not for screwing things in. It's just good to have on hand. Well, like you saw, for applying the masking tape. Okay, moment of truth. There's the back, all put back together. Love how that turned out. Oh, I love the color. You know, they say that the color was supposed to run true to the color on the cap on the spray paint bottle. Again, you never quite know, but this was awesome. Okay, so there we go. That is my AlphaSmart. I'll try and put a picture of the before and the after side by side so you can see. Oh, you know what? I see something there, and that's going to bother me. Let me grab an index card real quick. Oh, again, using my index cards. Love them. Let's see if I can get that. I think it's just oh yeah, it's just dust here. But that's going to bother me. Remember, I'm a recovering perfectionist, so forgive me. Okay, there we go. My number 1 tool, I'm telling you, an index card. Okay. Can you tell I'm starting to get nervous again? Even though I didn't take apart any of the electronics. I did mess with the back. I taped things off. So, okay. Let's go on. Get on with it. On. Okay, and it says, an unexpected data change occurred. Did you recently remove or replace the AlphaSmart's lithium backup battery? Y for yes, and for no. Well, yeah, of course I did. I don't have the standard factory default rechargeable battery. Instead, I put those 3 Kirkland Signature Costco off-brand batteries. So I want to press Y. Your AlphaStart needs to be restarted. You should not see the previous message again. Please press the enter key to restart. Okay. Initializing. Oh, awesome. So up here, you saw it showed me how much battery life it was full. And then to actually use this, it can store up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different files. And you literally just click a file and then you type whatever it is you want. And then to save, that's a good question. How do you save? Or does it save automatically? Let's see. You can tell I've never used this before. Save a file. Control S. Oh, great. Same as it is on the computer. Control S. Enter a name for the file. Testing. And then perfect. So it's saved. And that, I believe, is file 2. So let's check. There's file 1. There's nothing there. File 2. There it is. Type whatever it is you want. Now, let's say I want to delete that, which I do. I don't want to save it. Let's see. How do you delete the file? Oh, clear file right here. Are you sure you want to close testing and create a new file? Yes, I do. And there you have it. It's empty again. Or it should be. Ta-da! So there you have it. That is my AlphaSmart. I am so excited. I will try and give an update in a couple months after I've used it. But at least, hopefully, if you're curious and you want to give it a shot yourself, I showed you how to take it apart safely, how to mask, the paint I recommend, and what the finished product looks like. If you have any specific questions for me, feel free to leave comments below. If you like this kind of video, please let me know that too with a like, comment, or subscribe. I'm hoping to do more videos on writing in general, the writing process, and author. I am a published author, both through a traditional publisher as well as independently. I prefer publishing independently. Maybe that's another video for another day. But let me know if you like these kinds of videos, and I will keep it up. In the meantime, thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you found this fun. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.